This adventure started out when a good buddy of mine asked me if he could make me a knife. I had been searching for a weed cutter to replace the weed cutter that I inherited from my grandfather, but no one makes them anymore. And so I asked, instead of making me a knife, could you possibly make me a weed cutter like the one that I have? He took a look at it and he said, I could probably do that. So you see here where Travis is making the first bend to the shaft where eventually the blade will be welded to. Since we are making several weed cutters, he made this fantastic jig so that every weed cutter is exactly the same. He is now going to make the bend to create the angle for the weed cutter, which is about the same angle as a 5-iron. He's heating the steel to critical temperature to where he needs to make the bend. Now to make the first bend to the handle, which we have deemed the paperclip. Back to the vise for the final squish. And now we're at the other end of the jig where we're going to finish the handle and make the palm swell. The way he has this jig set up on the anvil is really cool. So in goes the pin for the palm swell, in which the steel will bend around and form the handle. Even the tools that you use get really hot, so you have to be very careful. Here he is putting it back in the vise, making sure everything is aligned, and making any final adjustments. Next, he is going to grind the tip, making it look nice, creating an ideal spot to put his signature stamp. The rough steel shafts are complete after another piece of steel is welded in and the bottom of the handle is welded to the shaft. The frames are then sent off to powder coating. The tool grade steel for the blade is heated to 1300 degrees temperature and slowly cooled in ash. This process of annealing is to soften the metal so that an edge can be put on it. The blade is then welded to the shaft. The blade is then heated to critical temperature and quenched in oil to re-harden the blade. The lower part of the shaft and blade are then painted. The walnut hardwood has been prepared for the scales for the handle, cutting them to shape, applying epoxy, and pinning the scales to the handle. This includes the mosaic frog pen. The scales are then sanded to shape. These weed cutters are truly a work of art and a testament to my friend's talents and waiting to be handed down to your next generation. Weed cutters can be purchased from our website and from the liquidation outlet in Albany, Oregon.